Alright, I got a couple of minutes here. I'll see if I can make my first video of 2016. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here before, I pulled the car over so that you don't get your panties in a bunch about me driving. And we could talk about the banks, the Federal Reserve, the rate hikes, the predictions of the stock market, all that great stuff. And of course we're going to do that, but not in this video. This video is going to be about Trump and the Hilderbeest, or Hillary Clinton, and the battle that is ensuing and the starting of the whole thing to do with, we knew it was going to come up, we knew it was going to happen, we knew it was a matter of time. The whole thing about Hillary and Bill, way back when in the 90s, when Bill decided to let his little wanker go somewhere else other than focusing on his wife. Now, you know, there's a theory out there, and there's a really solid theory that I've heard before, is that Hillary plays for the other team. She's playing for the other team. She's played for the other team for decades, and it's never been about that anyways, and she doesn't care about that. And it never mattered to her. It was all about power. Now, the other theory is that basically she's a woman who, you know, put up with what she put up with because she's extremely calculating and extremely power-driven and would do anything to get to the food chain in the political system, knowing that in her mind that was even bigger than anything else. Now, I don't know which one is right. I don't know which one's wrong. But I do know that she is very, very calculating, and this was something that she knew a long time ago she'd have to deal with again in her political career as she moved up the ladder, and she knew it was a matter of time anyways. It's interesting, though, that it comes at a time when her major opponent has had his own issues with the whole female thing, whether he makes comments that are derogatory or they're not, who said what first, whether he started it, she started it. You know, I tend to think that the Hillary campaign wanted to drag and pull Trump in to the battle because the large majority of people that support Hillary Clinton and supported Bill still think Bill Clinton was one of the best presidents that the United States have had ever, or at least in modern times, and a lot of those people supported Hillary then. So we can get into whether that's right or that's wrong, but you know what? I believe that they dragged Trump into it, knowing that he would step into certain, poo-poo along the way, because Hillary Clinton, basically, she's safe. Everybody dealt with that decades ago. They don't care. As a matter of fact, a lot of people would look at it and say, that was her personal choice. Who are you to attack her? And so when Trump steps into the trap, the only thing that can happen is, well, maybe he solidifies some people on his side, but people on the other side will be like, how dare you? Who do you think you are calling her out when she dealt with her personal life 20 years ago? And here's a guy who's been divorced a couple times already. So now you got both sides of the coin there. You got one side saying, hey, it was my business, not your business. We dealt with it. That was our business. And we had a very successful time. Economically, we boomed. Who are you to question what I did? On the other side, we have somebody saying, hey, at least I had contracts. And those contracts were things that two people decided together that they would break the contract amicably and move on to another contract. He sees it differently, which is very interesting. So what I find here that is probably more important than any of it is nobody really cares. You're only going to use the fuel on something that you already don't like. If you don't like Donald Trump, probably you're going to look at it and say, who does he think he is? Coming down on Hillary and picking on her and saying all these terrible things about women. And I knew he was, a sexist and he didn't like females and he treats them like dirt and all that stuff. That's probably what you're going to say. Something similar to that. You're probably going to say that here's a guy who couldn't even stay with the woman anyways. Has no staying power and, whatever. He wasn't going to stay there, so he moves on to the next one. And then he moves on to the next one. And it's only a matter of time before he moves on to the next one. What kind of president does that? That's what you're going to say from that side. From the other side, you're going to say, yeah, but Hillary was duped. And then instead of making her husband stand on the hot plate and stick up and do what was right, she blamed the women. She actually, and if you look back, she attacked the women that were with Bill, as if Bill was completely innocent, but all of those women were guilty. So if you're on Trump's side, you'll probably say, that's not a very intelligent woman. Or she put up with a lot of that crap because basically there's some other ulterior motive that she even had then. She didn't want to destroy her political career. And everybody knows if you're not married and, quote, stable, you're not going to get voted in as president no matter what. at least not here in the United States. What I see as somebody who's a little less biased is I don't really care what either one of them did. Both of them are questionable for president anyways. One of them is more of a business person that will do anything to get the deal and cut anybody out of the deal if they need to. The other one is calculating on a global level, and that will do whatever it takes in order to move up the ladder at a global level, even if it's at the sacrifice of the American people. So I don't see either one of them as being some moral compass that we have to look at and say, oh, I should look up to this person. I should follow that person because the way they do it is a good way to do it. When it comes to morals, I don't think either one of them are people that we should look up to and say, that's my mentor, or that's my some form of idol, or that's my stereotype that I want to live up to that. I don't think either one of them stand on a pedestal of anything whatsoever. We all have our own issues. This is the type of stuff that the media loves. The media loves this. They would rather talk about this than all the other stuff. Anything that keeps people interested. And this is part of that reality show mentality that the U.S. has that keeps them glued to the politics. The large majority of people, they don't want to even think about politics until something extreme happens, something exciting happens, something that's different, unusual, outside of the norm. And even then, they only want the headlines. The large majority of people do not want to read into issues. They don't want to really understand where they came from, how somebody's track record has led them up to where they are today. The large majority of people will never, ever make decisions on deeper information. As soon as they've made their choice on who is going to be their winner, very few of them will listen to the other side. They won't subscribe to those channels. They won't watch those programs. The only thing that most people will do, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, is that they'll stay on their side, they'll dig in their heels, and everything that they hear about the other side will help them rationalize why their side is so much better and the right choice. And that's basically the way it goes. Once people have made their decision, which is usually very, very early on, subconsciously, they don't want to hear anything that questions it. So all this stuff in between, I don't know, it's kind of like sprinkles. It's sprinkles on the cake. It just makes you go, oh, look at the cake is pretty. Most people don't care about what's on the inside underneath the frosting and the sprinkles. The large majority of people don't want quality. They want quantity. They don't want substance. So the only advantage here for Donald Trump at all by getting into this fight, this tit for tat over something like this, is basically to divert from some of his policies that are not quite finalized yet. We don't know where he stands. We can go by what he says, but he doesn't have a voting record. He doesn't have a political record that we can actually look at and say, oh, wait a minute, he said this, but he did that. It's really challenging to do that with him. Now, Hillary Clinton, some of her policies she's wavered on and changed her mind multiple times throughout her political career, which really hasn't been very substantial, actually, if you think about it. So she's wavered over and over on certain topics, and some of her topics she'll say one thing, but actually then go in another direction. And yet, she also has some ability to divert from those things by getting into this fight. So probably both of them know that they're going to solidify their voters. They're going to get more of their voters to stand on their side no matter what they do. And by the way, this is just another perfect example of why it's a two-party system. There's no shot that anybody from the outside would ever be able to get in because most of what we talk about is superficial stuff. Nobody has really talked about the meat yet. Now, maybe we'll get there. Donald Trump's move to talk to Hillary was clearly a campaign move to leave the rest in the dust. He basically has stated by doing that, I think I've won already. I've got this side taken care of. I don't have to worry about that. I can move over here. And that was a calculated decision, in my opinion, right before the end of the year. He did that on purpose. And here we are in 2016, and the discussion will now be Hillary, Trump, Hillary, Trump. And Hillary wants that too, to be honest with you. She doesn't want to talk about Sanders. She doesn't want to have a discussion with Sanders. And Sanders knows that he's basically going to continue to decline. He's not going anywhere. So what Hillary is going to do is position herself against Trump. Trump is going to position himself against Hillary. And we're going to see all kinds of fireworks. They're going to have nothing to do with what makes America great, or what helps you and I have a job, or what helps us be safe, or what helps us do all kinds of other good stuff. We'll get back to it, I'm sure. But in between, there'll be all kinds of stuff to keep it superficial and not let people think too much. They'll make their decision. They'll stay on that side. They'll stay on that side. And the rest won't matter. And then it almost won't make a difference what they say down in the end. In the end, everybody's going to vote for what they think they're going to vote for already. They've almost all of them have made their decision. I know some of you say, oh, I haven't made my decision yet. Yes, you have. You've already made your decision, and you know it. Maybe you're still wavering a little bit. Should it be this guy or that guy in my party? Maybe this guy or that girl in this party. But you already know you've decided on which party, which already tells you it's a 50-50. There's a two-party system here. And that's exactly what they want. They don't want you or I to ever think about something outside of that and not talk about stupid, superficial stuff and get down to the meat. All right, guys, that's my first video of 2016. We got way more coming. I got a lot of ideas. I want to talk a lot about the Fed, a lot about the banks. I got people telling me, oh, you like the banks and the way the system is. I don't know where they got that idea, or that I'm a Fed. I'm a big supporter of the Fed. I mean, some of these ideas are crazy. I don't know where they came from. Maybe comments. Maybe I didn't clarify some of the things I think, or I'm 100% into stocks, or I'm 100% not into stocks, or all these different ideas. I'll clear them up for you in 2016, and I'm sure I'll create even more confusion along the way, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, go create a great day.